us your brief rundown of your drum corps career.
Okay, the brief rundown of my drum corps career is I started with the Concord Blue Devils in 1970. 1970. I was 14, and I might have been 13. I don't know, and at that time the Blue Devils were a newly formed. They had just gone from a drum and bell corps to a drum and bugle corps.
Ladies and gentlemen, the corps on the field, the Concord Blue Devils. This is their first year in competition. This is their very first field show.
And that was the very first year that they were competing as a drum and bugle corps. And I continued as a performer in the Blue Devils until 1977, and that's the year that I aged out. And then I taught the B Corps for 3 years, concurrently while I was dancing. And at that time I was doing ballet and jazz and modern. And just about at the end of that 3 years, I was going to start working on a dance degree at the University of San Francisco. And I got hired to work with the A Corps. In 1981 was my first year in the A Corps, teaching the A Corps. So I did that concurrently with going for my dance degree and teaching and choreography and performance. And then after that, I graduated from USF and I went on to choreograph and teach the Concord Blue Devils, the color guard, until 1989. And I was also dancing professionally in the city in San Francisco at that time. So the dance was sort of my day job, and drum corps was my other thing. And then I stopped choreographing and teaching the color guard and working on the design with the design staff in 1989. In 90, 91, and 92, I worked with smaller drum corps, the Blue Knights, and a drum corps from Texas, and a couple of years with the Blue Knights, and another year with the drum corps in Texas.
Who are the people who you most look up to in the activity?
The man who started the Blue Devils and made it possible for me to be a performing member and then hired me to teach was Jerry Wright. Jerry Wright, above and beyond. I mean, he was a second father, he was a mentor, he was somebody that was trustworthy and committed and again, passionate and he always was true to his word. And you always knew where he was coming from, and he was an excellent role model in that way. And he always taught he treated everybody equally. And it was a wonderful time to be in the corps with Jerry as director. Wonderful, funny, loving, intense, hard. To be a marching member with Jerry Wright as director, and then to teach as a staff member of his. And then there's the woman that I taught with and marched with, and made all of my creative ideas come to fruition in manifest in drum corps and with the equipment and uniform, was Shirley Stratton. Shirley Stratton, just, my gosh, she is incredibly creative herself. I was lucky enough to march with her and be her friend as a performer, and still her friend today. We're still friends. And I was lucky enough to teach with her, and lucky enough to see her creations manifest on the field, and the wings, the wings that everybody thinks I created. Yes, I actually stole those. I stole them from Loie Fuller, who was a modern dancer in the turn of the century, and Shirley Stratton. She was the engineer that figured out what, you know, she took what I was talking about and what I had in my mind, and she was the one that figured out how to make it into a piece of equipment that was usable and wonderful to look at, and was a, you know, a piece of pageantry equipment that really worked for us and is still working for many drum corps, many bands. I mean, I think that it's the wings are like the wings. I mean, oh my gosh. The wings, the Blue Devil wings. I mean, that's my legacy, the wings.
What do you feel is the most significant thing you've done or been a part of in the activity?
I think bringing the color guard, bringing movement to color guard, and making that, making a statement with that, and working behind the scenes and on the sheets and the judging, and changing the perception of or changing the knowledge of movement and dance and how to judge it, how to take that and put it on the field and be able to evaluate it in such a way that it gets the proper merit. The sheets were very different, and it was really hard in the beginning. In the late 70s or the early 80s, late 70s, early 80s, 79, 78, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, especially 81, 82, 83, when the color guard was really dancing a lot. And not just the Blue Devils, but Bayonne, and then later the Spirit of Atlanta, Madison. We were all kind of bringing movement and dance to drum corps, and the judges didn't know how to evaluate it. The sheet wasn't set up properly to evaluate that. So working to change the sheet, working to integrate movement into the visual aspect, the visual design of drum corps, and changing the look of the color guard, making the look be very sleek, very feminine, flowing, more engaging. You know, you get a more personal, making the performance have a more personal aspect to it, so that you can connect to the audience. Because drum corps used to be very, and it still is somewhat, is very military, and there was that block. There wasn't a connection with the audience, and I think that in the late 70s, and certainly from there on out, there's more of a connection. There's more. It has more of a Broadway feel to it, more of a dance performance feel to it, where the performers actually want to connect with their audience, and they want their audience to feel what they're feeling. They want that kinetic. They want their audiences to leave with that kinetic feeling, that exhilaration of watching someone do this type of performance, this type of activity. I look up to everybody in the activity, because, you know, it's a labor of love. I mean, you're not going to get rich doing it, and it's really a labor of love. And to want to put your creation and pass that on, it's a great thing. It's a great thing for kids. It's a phenomenal activity. I did want to say that I do think that my favorite drum corps show was, whatever year it was Bayonne, when they did Sophisticated Ladies, and they tap danced on the pedestals, and I think Scott Chandler was teaching that year, and choreographing, and that was so much fun for me. And the Blue Devil years, 85, we did Pat Metheny, and we ended did First Circle, and ended with white wings with gold trim, 32 white wings with gold trim. And the 86 show, you know, Channel 1 Suite, and the 88 show, Since I Fell for You, that exit was really sexy and passionate.